What's up, guys? This is Jay from Generation Geek, and today we have some conversation for you guys, and the topic of which is the Blue Marvel. Pops, roll the clip.
Hey, it's Doc Solo here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video and clicking on our channel. But I have a very small favor to ask. You know, this is a new venture for us. And, you know, we're very, very grateful for you guys consuming our content. But if you could do one small thing and actually subscribe and hit the notification bell, we notice that despite having respectful views for a channel this size, that many people that are watching and even commenting aren't actually subscribing. And so if you'd like to see more from us and to just encourage us to continue because you dig what we're putting down, please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we post new content and when we go live, and we will endeavor to continue to bring you some of the most relevant content that we possibly can. And so thank you so much. I got work to do. Enjoy the video.
This segment of Generation Geek is brought to you in part by Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy. What do your favorite TV shows, hit movies, and epic video games all have in common? They were created by and employ comic book artists. Want to know how? Then you want Ka-Pow. Check out their YouTube at Ka-Pow School or visit teachyoutodraw.com for more information.
Hey, and welcome back to the latest installment of Generation Geek. I am the OG, Doc Solo, here with my son, the YG. I guess you YG. You ain't that old YG. My son, Jordan J, Mr. Melee in the Heezy. And today we decided to kind of, we're experimenting. We're an infant channel. And though we are getting great traction, I think, personally, we still want to kind of share with you things that we enjoy, because what we don't want to do, a lot of YouTubers are dropping off the map. And even I think, what's his name? Marquez, MKDHD, the tech superstar here on YouTube. He just recently did a video on people while they're leaving, and it was very profound when he said, you know, a lot of people forget that a dream job is still a job. And so the initial motivation here at Generation Geek is that we wanted to share with you guys our passion and our love for geek culture, things that we have done for years as father and son, conversations that we have on the phone, you know, on FaceTime, at the comic book shop. We're going to be bringing you content from the comic book stores. I just verified that with my home store, and they are excited to have us. And we're going to be bringing some Generation Geek, some comic shop talk. I think that'll be a great title, Comic Shop Talk, where we just kind of sit around the comic shop, and you know how it is. If you're part of this culture, you know what it is already. And so here today, we decided to, what does your mom call it? A geek spree, right? Geek spree. Geek spree. His mom is not a comic, and she's not a geek in any real way.
At all.
She has virtually no geek gene, right? The only geek in her has been me. Hey, yo.
Wait a minute.
All right. Bow, bow, chicka, bow, wow. And so anyway, whenever we would get into these in-depth geek conversations about comics or a new cartoon that came out or anything like that, she's like, oh, here we go, another geek spree. And I think that's a good title for these conversations. Now, listen, excuse me if you see my stuff freeze. My computer's getting older, and I'm thinking about upgrading as soon as finances allow. I think I'm at my processor limit. But we're going to keep doing this stuff until that happens.
Looks fine on my end, actually.
Huh?
It actually looks fine on my end.
Yeah, mine is jumping frames a little bit. And so, what are we talking about today, son? What are we talking about today? What are we geek spreeing on today?
We're gonna be talking about my boy, my favorite superhero of all time, ever created in all the history of fiction,
Oh my gosh.
Blue Marvel. In the
Oh my
creation
gosh.
of fiction, well, okay, not in the creating of fiction. That would be Kratos from God of War. But when it comes to comic books, it is definitely the Blue Marvel. Favorite hero. The reasons why, aside from him being super uberly powerful, kinda, yeah, he's powerful, but obviously, you got some crazy overpowered characters, and he is overpowered, but it's within reason, as much reason as you can within a comic book, and this is why I like him. Okay, so the Blue Marvel, in a sense, is very similar in power when it comes to those of like Thor, Superman, the Sentry, Hulk. His strength and power. As long as those lines go. The thing that I like about him the most is though he is what is classified as the flying bricks, like I said, the Superman types.
Flying brick?
Blue Marvel does not depend. Yeah, they're called flying bricks.
I thought they were like
so your Wonder Woman, your Captain Marvel.
flying bricks. What? Okay, where'd that term come from? Bricks. This is the generation gap in full effect. Where did flying bricks come from?
Yeah. Yeah, no, flying bricks been around. It's been a while. It's been a term that's been around for a while. That's what you call characters Wonder Man, Superman, Shazam. They're flying bricks. Super strong, invulnerable, can fly. Flying bricks. They're flying bricks. You throw them at them.
That's not flattering to me. That's not flattering to me. Yeah, that's not flattering to me.
Yeah,
it can be. I don't know if I like that. I'm gonna have to come up with something else.
They flying bricks.
I take that personal. But anyway, because we're talking about my affection for these characters and this mythology and a brick. There's nothing elegant about a brick, right? These guys, yes, they're strong and they're powerful, and they fly, but a brick, why can't it be like a flying tank? Or a missile, or like
classification for the archetype. Okay. That's all. You got the speedsters, you got your flying bricks. Like he's a flying brick.
He's a flying brick. So why do you like Blue Marvel so much? Now I know why I like Blue Marvel. Mm-hmm. Okay, and as you've seen, I love drawing Blue Marvel. You can probably catch some of my artwork at Ka-Pow School, and we may do some. We're going to be experimenting with some new content here on Generation Geek. Yes, representing. And we got some new Generation Geek gear coming. So you guys stay tuned. Even though we don't have a shop, we're going to be putting links in the description. If you guys want to, let your geek flag fly. But I know why I like Blue Marvel. And it has more to do with what he represented culturally, sure. And knowing that it was Kevin Grevious's love affair, and of course he's in my generation. He's an older cat, right? And really, he said something with the character. He was saying something because I think Blue Marvel was originally. I read one thing with Kevin that, and maybe we can get him on the show here sometime because I have access to him through a connection. Huh?
I said, yeah, you have a correspondence with him. They're pen pals.
Well, not just that. Well, see, what happened was Kevin Grevious, if you guys don't know who he is, I'll probably add it in post. But he is the guy that created the Underworld franchise. Mm-hmm. Okay? If you ever saw Underworld and the 1 and 2, there was I think he was the only black character in it.
Yeah, the only black character in it.
Yeah, he was the only black character in it. He was Ray's. His name was Ray's. And he had this really ridiculously deep voice. That's really his voice, right? That's really his voice. And he also played the Black Scarab on Young Justice.
Young Justice, yep.
On Young Justice, right. He played the Black Scarab during that run of the animation. Well, anyway, I'm gonna see if we can get him on here one day because he's got some new projects that he's dropped, and I've supported some Kickstarters of his. But he actually commented on a Blue Marvel sketch that I did, and but more so than that, yeah, he's supposed to be getting you a signed copy.
That's okay.
Yes, I know, right? Because you even had the Blue Marvel. We got you the Blue Marvel on your graduation cake.
My graduation cake from college. I'm gonna share my screen. Oh, my screen.
Right.
This is what was on my graduation.
Let me share your screen. Okay, let's pull that up.
My favorite scenes of Blue Marvel freaking knocking out Ultimate Hulk from the Ultimate Universe, like one-shotting him, like One Punch Man one-shotting this man. Like, this was on my cake. At 20, how was I, 25, 24 years old, right before my son was born. That was on my cake. That I dispute that punch. So yeah, I still
was
want
on
my
his cake.
signed copy from this man of something. But
so we're
anyway.
gonna make that happen, because I actually have a friend of mine in the entertainment industry that Grievous is strategic partners with. That's the industry term. Strategic partners with. That I can get a message to him and hopefully expedite that, because I know it's been a couple of years since he promised that. He really liked the sketch I did of Blue Marvel, and even inquired as to my page rates to consider hiring me for some work. But I'm not putting myself out for hire like that. But Blue Marvel, what is it? What, for me, it's cultural. For me, it's what it meant to the creator. Can't have too much representation in my accurate representation. Let's put it to you like that. We can have insincere representation, virtue signaling, tokenization. We don't want that. Yeah. Okay. Just people of the industry, hear us, hear these black men. We don't want tokenization. Give us authentic characters created with love and sincerity, with compelling storylines that we can buy into. We don't want pandering. Okay. We want sincere creative effort when dealing with us. Absolutely. So that's just, a public service message to anybody in the industry, the mainstream, that may not be aware. Okay. So to me, it was that. He represented that to me. What was he for you?
Yeah, so aside from him being powerful, as you guys know, a lot of the stories involving characters of his type, which is another thing why I love him, is because he is an original character with original powers. I think before this, the only character I've known of antimatter powers was the Anti-Monitor from DC Comics. It was never a superhero with actual antimatter powers, being an antimatter generator. So that part within it was cool.
You sure about that?
I can't think of any.
What about the guy from DC on the Fearful Five with the hand? Not what's his name? That disintegrated everything.
I know you're talking about the guy with the one hand.
Right. That wasn't. It was just disintegration. That wasn't an anti.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Let me see. The Fatal Five.
The Fatal Five. Leave it in the comments if you guys know of any characters that preceded Blue Marvel with antimatter powers outside of the Anti-Monitor. We all know the Anti-Monitor. Let us know.
You're right. Yes. Mano. He has an antimatter touch. Well, I said heroes.
You did say heroes. I stand corrected. You did say heroes.
He's the first hero.
Right.
Yeah. So there is Mano. Yes, he had the one hand, the antimatter touch.
Okay.
From the Legion Superheroes to Far Future. But aside from that, what I like most about him is that he is such a well-balanced character. He has PhDs in multiple fields of physics and all this other stuff. He was actually retconned. Instead of not being Reed Richards, it was he who discovered the negative zone. He predated Reed Richards. He discovered the negative zone. They retconned him into that. And then he was also a soldier. He was a Marine. So he was that guy. Right. Because he was that guy. He was that guy. And that's what I liked about what Kevin did with the script. And I don't know if you know this, but when he was approached to write a character for Marvel, he hesitated because he had been sitting on Blue Marvel for a while. And he was thinking about
that just being a creator owned, because he knew that once he did it for Marvel, that they could claim ownership. And so, but he wanted to do something that was compelling. Okay, now you're just showing off. Now you're just showing off.
I'm just gonna sit him right here.
I got that one in my office. That's the one I got in my office, because you wouldn't come off of that one. Nope. But you also got a custom one based off the drawing that I did.
I'm a fan of this man, bro. Now this character, I just.
So finish telling us why you're such a fan, and I'm gonna see if I'm riding with you on this one.
All right. So then there's and I'll also like that he's not perfect. Blue Marvel to a lot of people could be considered a coward for what he did. So for many who don't know in his history,
you got some scans on that, because we were still on this one. You can take this, or is this this is from
of that actual part
of Adam Brashear, the Adam Brashear story.
Yeah, the legacy of,
because I didn't follow this. I didn't follow this when he
The only scan I have of this particularly, let me see, is this instance in which he was on the moon after getting the Presidential Medal of Freedom from, at that time, I believe it was JFK. And he almost splits the moon in two. As you walk through, the Watcher says that he could have split the moon in two when he throws the medal down so hard that it could have split the moon in two.
Wait, he threw the medal down? Like the Medal of Freedom?
Yes, because the president had asked him to stand down because in this time, I think it was what he's supposed to be created around like the 60s or something like that. Was it the 60s?
Yeah, it was during it wasn't the Kennedy administration.
No, I know JFK definitely was his president. That I do.
Was he JFK as president?
Yeah, so whenever JFK was president, so it could have been the 50s.
Okay.
Probably was the 50s. And
he knows comic book history. US history is a different story.
US history, as they say, the victors are the ones who write history, so they really history. They asked him to stand down because during this time of the Civil Rights Movement, white people feared him because once they found, because the thing about the Blue Marvel, nobody knew he was black. He wore a mask.
That was brilliant. That was brilliant.
And when it tore his mask, white people were in fear of him that a black man had this power during that era, and then black people wanted the Blue Marvel to be their messiah. And he wanted to do neither. He wanted to be an American and a hero. And so, because of that, the president asked him to stand down and gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, but he can no longer be a hero, and everybody had to think that he was dead. And so, he actually backed off. And that's where he can be considered a coward, because instead of standing up, and standing out, he decided to take a back seat when the world needed him most. So I like that complexity of his character. So that's the character part of it. And then you come to the power. So the man is ridiculously powerful. So powerful that he was able to obviously go head to head with the Sentry. He was able to go head to head with Anti-Man. He even, as I put in the video that you guys can see, he even destroyed the shell of a Beyonder. Like a freaking Beyonder, the god tier beings of Marvel that destroy all the cosmic abstracts in the Second Secret War. He was able to one-shot a Beyonder because Beyonders are made of positive matter. He's an antimatter reactor. And as some of you may know, 1 gram of antimatter has the same amount of energy as a nuclear bomb. That's just 1 gram. And he's a reactor for that level of power. So whenever negative matter comes in contact with positive matter, it's just an explosion. It can't exist in the same plane. And so it's just his powers are just so cool. But the fact is, if you think with somebody with that level of power, he has to always be in control of everything he does. He can never really cut loose. He can never really, show his power, because it can destroy almost anything. So pretty much any villain or hero that he fights, he can pretty much destroy. But the best part about it is though he has his level of power, he doesn't depend on it. And that's my favorite part about him, is because
he does not depend on it.
He does not depend on it. He would rather not get into a fist fight. He would rather figure out a scientific way or a different way to solve an issue than go. That's why I love him. It's because he has so much power, but he's not like Superman where he's just chucking the sun and chucking planets. No, he's like, no, I can handle this. I wish I could find the scan, but it was an issue in Squadron Supreme. this man on it's like he's a mix of Superman and Batman. This man had an entire response to the entire Squadron Supreme team. He single-handedly took them all out scientifically with his technology and abilities. And then when it came to Hyperion, he's like, well, what you got for me? Because he don't shut down his whole team. I'm talking about Nighthawk, Spectrum. What's the speedster's name? Is it the Wizard? Is it the Wiz?
The Wizard.
What's his? Is it the Wizard? Yeah, the Wizard. Yep. He shut them all down, and then he gets to Hyperion, and he's like, well, what's your plan for me? He was like, you got some technology for me? He's like, nope. He said, it's time to sweat. He said, nope, it's just time to sweat. And they just start throwing him. And that's just like so cool because like he will go there, but he'll use every other effort in a different way than having to just rely on brute strength and just being a brute. So you can't look at him as like Wonder Man or Thor to just smash it. Like, no, this man has a brain, and you have to respect that.
Okay.
Another instance when speaking of intelligence, my last point.
Make your points. I ain't hating on you.
This man. So in the last Doctor Doom run, Reed Richards was, I guess it was a black hole that had started, and when Reed Richards needs somebody to track down Doom, because I believe he set off a black hole, everybody thought it was Doom, he was framed. And then
I think I remember that storyline.
Yeah, he needed someone to track down Doom, so he sent Herbie to go find Adam Brashear, because he's like, when it comes to intellect, you are equal to Dr. Doom. Like, he ran a chess simulation, and I think Blue Marvel won 7 out of 10 times against Doom. And Dr. Doom is my favorite supervillain, is Dr. Doom. Well, I guess the new term for him was he's an anti-villain. You know, we got anti-heroes. I guess Dr. Doom classifies as an anti-villain now. That's right. A new term. But he's like, you match him for might, you match him for power, but more than anything, you match him for intelligence. And he said Reed Richards ran a scenario 7 out of 10 times, and he did it through a chess match that Blue Marvel came out. He won 7 out of those 10 times against Dr. Doom. And so when it comes to intelligence, he's at that level, and that it's just a great character. And he doesn't have many appearances. He's getting a lot more now. Like, if some of you that read recently, he just appeared in the new X-Men book, The Resurrection of Magneto. He was in there.
Oh, did he?
He's in. Yep.
That just dropped this past week.
Yep. There was a small scene where Storm needed him to get into to open up a portal. Who needed the Defenders to open up a portal into their version of heaven. And she went to Blue Marvel for that. And yeah, man, he's just a great character. He's just a great composed character, and they don't use him a lot except for when it's something big. So he doesn't have many low showings like you have, like Sentry or something like Thanos losing a Squirrel Girl, or freaking Ultron losing, or like Kane the Conqueror losing to Ant-Man. Like, he doesn't have showings like that because they only pull him out for like the big stuff, and I appreciate that.
Okay, well, let me share something. Let me go back a little bit because you dumped a lot. Your passion shows, my son. Your passion for Blue Marvel, and that's what this is about, man. And so this is his first appearance. In case you guys are wondering, I would highly recommend you visit your local comic shop to help keep the culture alive and thriving. We need y'all there. So this is issue 2 of Adam Brashear, and this is actually when he loses his mask, right? And it's absolutely amazing because what I liked what Kevin Grievous did, and granted, I won't even comment on what he's done historically outside of saying, to me, this was his magnus opus. To me, was Blue Marvel, right? The level of complexity, the social commentary that he provided during this series, that America was okay with having a hero of his power fight on their behalf as long as he wasn't a person of color. Mm-hmm. You know, and so you remember he loses his mask fighting his friend, who also was caught in the antimatter explosion or accident, right? And that's him in his full retro regalia. And I love how they had him covered from head to toe.
How did I know you was going to use that word?
What?
Regalia. I don't know why.
Regalia.
Yeah, you
Grab your dictionary, boy. Us old folks, we actually use the King's English. But in his regalia, and actually did a drawing sketch of this. Someone. It's funny to show you the appeal of this character. Somebody bought the original. I did a sketch on tonal paper of Blue Marvel. See if I can find it later, of him removing his mask. This mask, and he was kind of in a version of this outfit. And at the last one I did of last year, a guy bought it and didn't even know who the character was. Yeah. Didn't even know who the character was. He's like, I don't know who this dude is. And I told him who he was, and he was like, all right, I gotta have that.
Like,
and he
and I want him. And we can do this the easy way or the hard way. What's yours?
But the level of complexity and the depth of the character, the artwork to me was straight butt. The artwork was butt. It was straight butt. They did not invest this. If you buy this, buy it for its historical value, because it is a historic piece of historic fiction, even for Marvel, using characters from that era. But powers aside, see, and he and I have this debate all the time. I do not like OP characters traditionally. Me and OP characters is just, they're hard to write. They're hard to write and make believable and plausible. And to your point, I think you brought up something I did not consider. Huh? What'd you say?
I said, get your point off, because I got a counter to that.
So
I always have a counter.
Actually, I'm coming for some. I'm about to give you some props. To your point, the emphasis on the man over the hero, it kind of gave me Spider-Man vibes, right? It's like Kevin Grievous being a student of the craft and a lifetime fan. It was more about what's happening to him socially, because I believe he was actually married to a Caucasian woman, wasn't he? Yeah, during this time, which was also frowned upon. And I believe Kevin Grievous pulled on that from his own personal experience, and how society frowned upon it even in this era, and the fact that he had to hide who he was. And again, the government was okay with benefiting from his power and his ability and even his intellect, but America would never subscribe to a black man wielding this power. Mm-hmm. And so I think historically, I think the tempo was set for this character moving forward, to your point that he's less quick to resort to physicality over mentality. Mm-hmm. He uses his brain. And I think that's what I like about this character. Despite ridiculously, I mean, you're talking about a dude who can go toe to toe with the Sentry and do damage to him. We saw that in Siege. No one could do damage to him, And I'm like, well, where's Blue Marvel? This is him and his wife right here, I think, in this scene.
Yeah, a shield agent too.
Yeah. And this, you have all these cultural references to the times. I think every fan of just the Marvel mythos that values great character development should go out and get this book. I think I bought the floppies and I bought the graphic. Mm-hmm. I believe I also bought the graphic. So yeah, check out Blue Marvel. What were you going to say, Encounters, when you thought I was going to throw some shade? Or did I throw the shade anyway?
No. You already do the shade anyway. It wasn't that. It was what you said about not liking it. So this is what he always says. He likes characters like Batman, who everybody knows Batman is already OP because nobody can be Batman. He always has a plan for everything, right?
Because
so
he's
Batman's
Batman.
OP his own way. Yeah,
because
exactly.
He's Batman.
So that makes him OP. But regardless of that, this is why I like OP characters or super powerful characters, because they are so powerful. It puts pressure on the writer to be that much better. If you have a character that can solve any issue, then you have to, for me, I believe you have to be a better writer to make them interesting. That's why so many stories of Superman aren't interesting, because he is so powerful. And, you know, Superman is going to fix it, and this is like there's no real danger or threat. And I feel like when you have characters that powerful, you need to have a villain that much more powerful or smarter, you know, like a Lex Luthor, or you have to write a good enough story that we have to care about them or feel danger or feel like something's going to happen to them, aside from, oh, it's kryptonite, or is that whatever their, you know, weakness of the week is. Like, it has to be a good story. Like, Blue Marvel really has no weaknesses. He has none, so you have to write a good story for him. Sentry, the best thing about the Sentry, though people don't like him, is that he has his mental issues. So Sentry can't always.
We're gonna do Sentry another day, because you also want to talk about Sentry. We're gonna talk about Sentry another day, and then we're gonna get some street level love to my characters. Okay, we can talk about, so you're going into Sentry, so I'm gonna pause you right there. With Blue Marvel, though, I think you're being gracious with saying. I think you're being gracious with saying, giving a lot of benefit to writers, especially in my opinion, writers of today. They have a tendency to write themselves into corners with certain characters, right? They have a tendency to write themselves, in my opinion, they have a tendency to write themselves into corners. And to me, it's not even, it's easy to get caught up in the power trap, right? Like the superpowers, that's been DC's problem historically. Wouldn't you agree? DC Comics is that they lacked relevant, compelling character development and opted for power set focus.
Yeah. I mean, you got a team full of gods, and you got a freaking lineup of Superman, Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Doctor Fate, Shazam. Like, how? Who can fight that?
It's
like,
redundant. It's a grotesque abundance of power on every Martian Manhunter. If you got Martian Manhunter, you don't need the Flash. You don't, and vice versa. You don't need Superman. It's ridiculous. What, you know, and they don't put, historically they haven't put adequate enough ceilings, and I think they're trying to do that now. But a lot of these characters are cemented in the hearts and the minds of the readers at this point. And so even though we get retcons, are they really retconned? You know, I want to hear you guys sound off in the comments and let us know what you think about Blue Marvel and OP characters. And also, if you guys have characters you'd like us to discuss, and as we grow as a channel, we may start doing these live as we grow the audience too, so that we can have real life discussions with those in the chat. But for right now, with where we are, this is how we talk. This is how we talk. I would like to see a Blue Marvel movie. Absolutely. And I may be biased. A lot of people have been calling for that, though. They were hoping to see him in the Marvels. You know, they were hoping to see him in the Marvels. Yeah. In the Marvels. Because in the book, wasn't he in a relationship with Monica Rambeau? Yep, he was with Monica. Right? I thought they were in a relationship. Power couple for sure. They even had a freaking Super Saiyan fusion at one point where they joined power together. It was kind of impressive. They became like this Omega level being. It was pretty nuts. But yeah, they're like a super power couple. But they're broken up now, I think they tried to give her, you know, the whole woman empowerment thing. They gave her her own issue. And they broke up, and her dad made the comment, his mom was like, oh, what happened to that nice Dr. Bashir? And his dad was like, we broke up. And dad's like, he was too old for my baby anyway. And I was like, oh my God. So yeah, they broke him up. That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. It's the first Monica Rambeau book. Like, that's exactly what they said. So yeah, that's interesting. That's my guy, man. That's my guy. Like, you don't say. I'm picking Blue Marvel on anybody. No, I just did a Blue Marvel drawing. We'll probably post some clips of it here. I love the character. It's just me and OPs. It's like a love-hate relationship with OP characters. And even in my studio, Honor Studios, we have some OP characters. We have some OP characters that were created because of your affection for OP characters. I don't despise them. I'm just very biased towards street level characters, you know, or people with moderate power sets that have to be very creative in how they use them to overcome an overwhelming force, right? That they're, you know, when they're punching above their weight. These guys are never really like a punching above. You got to go cosmic for them to punch above their weight.
You do. You gotta go cosmic, yeah, for sure.
You gotta go cosmic. There's no
yeah.
No other engagement is plausible, but cosmic for them. So you know,
it's like characters like that. Like, but that's the thing about. So that's my thing about Marvels, because, which I feel like is why a lot of people prefer them over DC. Obviously, DC being just having such historic heroes that they do. They're just, you know, I feel like more so than Marvel, DC always represent America. They push the America ideals super, super hard. Like, always. Like, well, obviously we had, like, Marvel has Captain America. Aside from him, folks they was shipping Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman comic books to go fight Hitler, and they just had Captain America doing that. So I feel like DC pushed the whole American narrative, you know, the
truth, justice, and the American way.
Yeah, the American way type of thing. Versus, you know, Marvel was always, you know, very based. Even in its villains, you have villains that that's
before DC went completely woke, and they got rid of the American way. By the way, they got rid of the American way part, which is horrible pandering, and
The thing I love about Marvel is Marvel's, even like when you say like they have to fight above their weight class, but they don't. I don't feel that way, because they have villains that are so powerful that it's always, for Marvel's always about the potential of a character, what they can do. You know, even like if you look at the X-Men and mutants, they're all powerful, but they all have, like, some of them have potential levels they haven't even reached yet. Or for instance, you have a villain like the Superman. You have a villain that really can be so freaking powerful, but he's a freaking moron.
Who's
so
this?
It's like, yeah, there is somebody like the Absorbing Man.
Absorbing Man.
Like the Absorbing Man. He's like, his power set to be able to absorb anything, any energy. He's able to. He absorbed the power from Odin one time. Took power from Odin. A Skyfather level being. He took the power from a Cosmic Cube. He took the power from Mjolnir. He has this power from Sentry. He has this, but he's such a freaking moron. He loses to people like Spider-Man, but he has the potential to go against somebody like Blue Marvel. That's what I love about Marvel. So it's like he still has earthbound threats that can be a threat to him. It's just, again, it's to the writer to make the story good enough. So I
think that's where we're stuck as in fandom. We are reaping the bitter fruits of, I won't say incompetent, but I will say less adept writers than in previous generations of creativity. Because many of them are missing stories, or like these really crucial, again, the thing that makes these OP characters primarily in Marvel work is that Marvel has historically focused on the character over the superhero, the person over the power, right? In my opinion. And DC has done vice versa. But I still think DC has, in my opinion, they have a more colorful, interesting, like right now on my screensaver, it's some stuff on the DC Comics villains. They have a very, very, I think, beautiful and vast comics character library.
For sure.
Compared to Marvel, right? I'm like, their characters, I mean, they're amazing as far as, you know, the variance of the characters and their powers. They just don't have better character development like Marvel does. And I think if anybody makes the OP character work, it's Marvel. Marvel makes the OP character work because of the human condition.
I would say this. I would say that DC has better heroes from character development, but I feel like Marvel has better heroes for character development. I feel like DC has better villains for character development. I feel like their villains are way more in depth. So like the Joker, how in depth he is, Bane, Two-Face. Like I feel like their villains are a lot deeper than their heroes, because their heroes for the most part haven't changed throughout these years. They've still been the same. And when and because they've been the same for so long, when they try to change them, they do something outlandish and weird. Right. It doesn't make sense. And now, granted, with Marvel, of course, you got your Doctor Dooms, you got your Magnetos, and when it comes to death, those are like the only two villains and Loki I could think about that really have any type of change throughout the years significantly, that they aren't like the run of the mill villain. But you go to DC at the time, Black Adam, before he became a hero, super in-depth villain. Like, there's not really a villain. He just cares about what he cares about, which is his people. Like, I feel like they're better at writing villains than they are the heroes, because the heroes has been the same for so long, just the status quo to it. Over DC, over Marvel, but
you make a compelling point. That's another conversation. You make a compelling point. And so, again, if you guys are watching this and you guys have enjoyed our Geek Spree episode number 1, you know, we got your mom, if she watches this, hope she doesn't because of my earlier comment. But that won't be nice. But if you're watching this and you want to participate in the Geek Spree, leave something in the comments. Let us know. Like, follow, subscribe, people. We are getting so many views in relationship to our channel size, but people aren't subscribing. I know people aren't thinking about it. I know the algorithm's just feeding you stuff, you know, and it may keep feeding you our content. But if you have not done so, please subscribe to us. We are committed to this. We're only a month in. I know the channel says 5 years. That's when we first got the idea, but we're a month in the commitment, and you see we're dropping 2-3 videos a week. Okay, that's not including shorts. And so we are committed to this because this is about family. This is about fandom. This is about having fun. And I've got some content exclusive that I'm going to be releasing on my end. He's going to be releasing some exclusive content on his end, and we're going to be coming together as a family as well. And so if you want more content like this, lend your voice, lend your support by not just liking the video, but leaving a comment, and more importantly, subscribe. I think I'm gonna put that subscribe animation like every other minute. So it's like bling, 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 subscribe. But thank you guys so much. We're gonna be checking in the Geek Spree, and even we're gonna be reviewing more comics. Some things drop. We're gonna be doing comics from the comic book shop the day before they release. And so we're going to be trying to get early and kind of giving you guys, man, it's going to be so much fun. We're going to be having comic shop conversations. We have been, Jay and I, we have been committed to exploring the possibilities of how to set ourselves apart from what you may see. You're going to see some commentaries from Jay over my art, okay, that I reserve exclusively for Ka-Pow and Honor Studios, that's relevant to the subject matter. And so we're going to have fun, but we need you to subscribe and turn on the bell. Hit the bell so you know when a video drops, and when we eventually start going, we have a number in mind for when we want to start going live. Okay. And so if you want more Generation Geek, let us know by pushing those buttons. Do the thing, y'all. Do the thing. And so until then, remember, if you like all things geek and fandom, anime, manga, games, you may not be a fanatic. It's genetic. Solo out.
Y'all be blessed. Peace.